everybody, a warm welcome to another interview on Wisdom from North. I'm Jannecke, and today I'm super excited to be here with Michael Oddane. Michael is the host of the popular YouTube show WakeUpGlobe, and on this show they are presenting two parts of the awakening that we're going through, both truth and spirit. So they're looking into the truth about what's not working in the system and also looking into the spiritual awakening. And today we will focus on both some spiritual material like Hermetic Principles that Michael is passionate about, and also a bit about, you might call it conspiracy theories, or just talk about the system and the coronavirus a bit as well. Now, in these difficult times, I really want to be of the best service I can be, and I've promised you to focus on these challenging energies, because now there are a lot of energies coming down to this planet, to Mother Earth. And what I think is more very important in these times is actually to raise our frequency. And I have a free meditation for you. It's called Meet Your Future Self. And in this free meditation that you can find below in the link, you have the possibility to meet your future self in a future timeline, actually the highest version of you. So you can draw from that, draw back these perspectives into your now, to expand your awareness and have another perception of actually your reality, a higher perspective on this reality. So I highly recommend that you check it out. Not go so much into fear. Fear can be there, yes, but see if you can actually raise your vibration and have your vision on what you want to create in the future. All right, that being said, now let's dive into this. Hello, Michael, how are you?
Hello, Jannecke. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. We just had an interview on your show, so That's always fun to be interviewed and just speak about my thoughts. And now I'm super excited to hear about you, because you have such a popular Swedish channel, and all of a sudden a lot of people are following it. And you've been doing it for a couple of years, and you're sharing your wisdom, and you're also interviewing other teachers and knowers.
Yes.
I would love to hear where this started. I feel like your spiritual journey started more after what you said on the call, conspiracy theories and chemtrails, that it was like there.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some people who calls this conspirality, and that's absolutely where I'm coming from. I started to investigate 9/11 in 2005. And that was my start to all of this, to investigate that and see what happened. And as many other people do, I found that there is some shady business going on there, and I also found it to be an inside job. So that was a very rude awakening to me, and I started to delve into all the different rabbit holes, which so many people are doing, to investigate politics, and that's eventually led to secret societies, of course, and a lot of different things for many, many years. I started a company, a small factory in Sweden, also in 2005. And this was almost, in retrospect, it was almost like the financing of my education into both the conspiracies and also spirituality. But also I came into a situation in my life, because I was studying too much of these alternative things and didn't focus enough on my company. I started to experience some problems, and also a relationship which was very, challenging. So I started to investigate more and more things on psychology and also on spirituality, but through the secret society teachings. So I came to a point where I always found secret societies behind government structures and so forth, like Freemasonry, for instance, and also other more dark societies, perhaps. But I was very curious to see why are these secrets? What is the secret? What kind of knowledge are they keeping? And I found a guy called Mark Passio online, who is very good at teaching the occult. And I studied Freemasonry and also some Christianity, and I started to put together the picture for me. And suddenly, when I understood the teaching and also looked in my life, I started to understand why I was having problems. I understood duality for the first time, what duality is and how it works in the human psyche. And that was very, very exciting to me too. That was really a breakthrough for me to understand the black and the white, the good and the evil, the love versus fear, and how that operates within this human psyche. Because that is the key, I think, to a lot of things in society, and also to grow spiritually.
This is very, very interesting. Wow. So you said that in these conspiracies, you sort of found spirituality that at the bottom there was like some spiritual traditions, and the wisdom was there was a wisdom between the duality. Can you dive deeper into that? Yeah.
Absolutely. When I've spent these 15 years plus now to investigate the world on both the spiritual side and also the political side, then what is very fascinating to me and very timely, because we're now moving into the age of Aquarius, it is very timely that more and more people, they investigate governments and understand that they have spiritual knowledge within the power structures, and they don't let the people have this knowledge. So that is very interesting to me, and it's very timely also, because if we understand that the negative power of the world uses spiritual understanding to prevent us from growing, which they are doing, that's no doubt about it, then everybody suddenly, when we hear about this, we want to study what they know. And that was what happened to me. I want to know what they know. Why is it so secret? And as I studied it and understood it, wow, my life expanded massively.
So what was it that made this big aha about duality in your psyche that made such a difference for you?
Within, for instance, Freemasonry, you see there's always a checkered floor. So there are always the black and white squares. So that is symbolizing that a person who is in duality, which is basically having the dark side within you and the light side within you, but you're struggling between those things. So you have one part of your mind telling you to do things which are not creating a good life for yourself, because you want to have pleasure in the now mainly. For instance, tobacco or alcohol, or that can be thought processes and all those things. That is one part of you, and the other part of you wants to be healthy and think in long terms. So I don't want to smoke, I want to be healthy and do the good things. And this is in all different parts within our minds and our bodies as well. So if we have this duality, then we are constantly going from the black side to the white side, back and forth all the time, like a pendulum. And if we are in this state, it's impossible to grow spiritually. It's impossible to gain, even if you push yourself to the bright side and only focus on love, spirituality, and all those wonderful things which many people are doing, you still have the darkness within you. And if you have the darkness within you, you can't grow. Those two must be together, like the yin and the yang. So that is the basis for all of these mystery traditions in my mind.
So if you have the darkness within you, you can't grow, but isn't it, or didn't you mean that they have to, or are you saying they have to come together? How do they come together?
By looking at what's dark. So it's the alchemical process. You take the lead, the heavy feelings, the low vibration, as you say, and look at it. Why am I in this situation? Why am I feeling like I'm doing? If I go into depression, then you look at the cause. You don't medicate away depression. You understand why you're in the position. Mm-hmm. So, but this goes in many, many details and fine layers. And as you grow from the heaviest things within your life, then you have to look at more and more lighter shadows, so to speak. And as you progress upwards, you go just like the Freemasonry logo. They have the thing which you paint the circle or draw the circle, and they have the square. And this is a perfect logo, I think. And I also use this in my teachings, because it is, if you go from duality and up to unity, which is Christ consciousness or whatever we want to call it, then you also expand in energy flow. And this is where, in my mind, the spiritual gifts really come to life, such as the third eye and those things. You have to have a flow of energy in all different parts of yourself to activate, because we are an electrical, biological being. So as we go from chakra to chakra and activate each part of us, then also the energy flow within our body increases. just by thought, just by mind, it increases, and then we can activate the functions of the third eye, for instance. So it's really energetic, it's physical, although we think it's only maybe mental, but it's very, very interesting teachings that they hide from us.
What I don't understand is that if these spiritual principles are at the bottom of the systems, or the different systems around the world, are you saying that many of them are using it then in a dark way, like they're using like magic in a dark way, in a sense?
Absolutely, for sure they do. Black magic is very common, and it's used all of the time against the populations of our countries. And this will serve us in the end, because if we want to transcend into the age of Aquarius, we have to understand how this black magic, for instance, is used against us. And it's just energy manipulation, really. But we have to understand it in order to transcend into the age of Aquarius. And that's what's happening now, both with people who don't look into the darkness, but only look at the light, but also when you look at both sides and when you look at only politics. So everything is needed. But I see, as you said, my channel is, the slogan is truth and spirit. So we look at the truth, we look at what's dark in the physical world, and then we understand the spiritual world. And when we fuse those together, then the light will win. Yeah. But if we only look at spirituality, then we only have feminine energy. So that creates an imbalance, and we don't take care of what's happening in the physical world.
Oh, so you're saying spirituality is feminine energy?
Absolutely. The three top chakras, for sure, they're feminine.
Ah.
So you have the three bottom chakras are male, masculine, more separated consciousness, more darkness, more earthbound. You haven't got the spiritual experiences when you only operate from the three lower chakras. And then you have the three top ones, which is more holistic, more spiritual, more emotional, and all things. And if you activate your heart, that's where the male and female marries. So that's the marriage. And you can see that in the tarot deck, you have number 6 is for the heart. So you have 3 plus 3 is the number 6 in the heart, and also in the Kabbalah and many other teachings. The Rosicrucians also have the rose in the heart. So the heart is the transformation point to start to access the 3 top chakras.
Huh. I haven't looked at it that way. I've always felt that there's a yin-yang in everything. But yes. You wouldn't say that the masculine is the darkness, would you? Or
it would represent the darkness in my mind, but any imbalance would create darkness, I think. But as you say, absolutely, all chakras have both masculine and feminine. But since the universe is fractal, then every part of us are both male and female, like the cell or the atom within us is both male and female. So yes, but the major transformational point I understand, and what is called Jacob's ladder, the ladder to God, is by going through the chakra system one by one and go up. And in that sense, the lower ones are male and the top ones are female.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what are your perspectives now on the coronavirus and what's going on?
Now I am a bit conspiratorial. So, and I think, I mean, we have to understand that governments and these secret societies have a lot of power, and they have the power now in the world. Also, even darker, like the satanic occult teachings or societies, they have a lot of power in the world, and that will be to our benefit in the end, because we have to understand darkness, how darkness operates. Then we will be taught by the darkness. We will find the light within the darkness, and that has been my journey, really. I didn't understand all the beauty of the universe that I now understand, and I only understand a little, but I didn't understand any of it before. But through darkness, through understanding how they are manipulating our societies to keep us from experiencing the spirituality, or gain the personal power that we get when we understand spirituality, or drink from the Holy Grail. That's a beautiful analogy from also these societies, to keep the Holy Grail from the people, because the Knights Templars. Because if you drink from the Holy Grail, then you will get eternal life. And that is absolutely true. It's 100% true. Not in the physical form, but you will drink from the Holy Grail, which is the spiritual water. And the spiritual water is knowledge. Water is always knowledge, it's light. if you drink that knowledge, you will understand that you are immortal in the essence. And this is the kind of knowledge they keep from us, because if we understand it, we will gain courage to change the system. And that's what's happening in my mind.
And the age of Aquarius, do you feel that we're in it now? Some astrologers are saying that we're in it now. Some are saying, no, not quite yet.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of conflicting information. I thought it was 2017 because I was listening to a astrologist who I think is very good. But actually, during my process now, I opened my third eye in this darkness I went through. So now I get messages. I don't trust them all the time. I look at the messages, and I also look at society and see where it corresponds. But there was a date in February where many people were talking about that maybe this is the date for the changeover to Aquarius. And in this, the night before, I received messages from within the third eye. So how do you call it?
Downloads?
Clairvoyant messages. Mm-hmm. So it's images and movies. They also send movies, which are pretty cool. So what I was being shown was, from a top perspective, I saw many people fighting each other. So there was a big fight going on. And that is representation, I think, of the information war which is going on. You have alternative media, you have the old media, you have the light and the darkness, I feel. And what was happening here was that a big wave, like a big tsunami, came in over these people who were fighting. So that is, I think that the spirit wanted to tell me that now it's happening. This is the wave. And the way that comes in, that will wash away the darkness, that will fill people with knowledge so they can ascend and go towards their enlightenment.
Wow.
So maybe that was it. I don't know. I don't take everything I see that way for 100% true.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting that you said that. Why is that?
I think there are both good and negative and positive forces in the spiritual world, and we definitely have demons or archons and all those dark ones, and we have angels and all the light ones. So who is sending or broadcasting the message? I don't know. So I take it with a pinch of salt, but some of them I feel resonate with me directly. Then I feel more that is true, and some of them I don't understand. Many of them I don't understand at all. So I just see geometry or things that I don't understand. Maybe on a subconscious level somewhere I do, but I don't really understand it.
It's interesting that you're talking about the third eye opening, because I just had another interview about it last week, and sometimes I feel like these interviews are correlating or connected somehow. So how did you experience that third eye opening?
That was in the darkest moment of my life, I think. That was really, I was struggling so much to understand the problems in my life, both relationship-wise and also company-wise, and why I was behaving negatively towards myself, because I was a party man at that time. I liked to drink alcohol and party and all those things. So I had a lot of problems, and I did what I think one is supposed to do when you have problems. You have to find it, you have to learn, you have to search for wisdom, of course, and knowledge, how to get out of this state. So I was studying a lot of things at this time to understand all the negative dynamics of my life. And one night I just started to see something when I shut my eyes, and I was trying to sleep and relax. Then I was starting to see an alien face. So that was, it looked like a gray alien, which showed up very, very vaguely, very faint, but still I could see it, and I didn't understand what's happening. Of course, I had heard about the third eye through many teachers, even David Icke and those, but I didn't understand that was what I was experiencing. So, but then it grew slowly, very slowly, day by day, or week by week. Then it was off for a while, came back on, and I got very interested that this must be the third eye, because I'm seeing things like an eye, even if it was faint and not colorful or in full color. It was just more like black and white or green and black. So and then I went into all the things online and studied the New Age and all wonderful wisdom, your channel as well. At this time, I watched many of your teachers there to gain more knowledge, and I practiced to see auras and energies and all those things, the beautiful things.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you feel that you're still having an open eye today, that it's like part of you now?
Yes, absolutely. It's a little bit varying because I still struggle with tobacco sometimes because, I don't know, it's duality. It's plain and simple duality. I mean, the life have been very, hectic the last half year. So with the politics and the channel growing and so many contacts and all those things, so I use tobacco sometimes to relax instead of meditation. So then you can directly see that the function of the third eye and all the what you can see also in terms of energy in front of you, it varies with your vibration. You can see it very, very clearly.
That's
low vibration, it fades away, and high vibration, it comes back.
That's very interesting, because you talked about it was in your darkness that it actually opened up, and sometimes that is a paradox to me. That going into the darkness is how we can actually wake up, because isn't that a low vibration? You know, like you're saying that it's in the high vibration that you're receiving. Sorry.
Bless you.
I sneezed all of a sudden. Yeah. Yes, but the other guy that I interviewed a while ago, Michael Lapatriello, also Michael, he said the same thing. It was actually through his sobbing, that he was sobbing and experiencing difficult emotions, that all of a sudden he kind of accumulated so much energy in sobbing that it just opened.
Yeah.
It wasn't like in this blissful moment that,
no.
And that's interesting.
Actually, another thing which is very cool, which happened maybe 4 years ago, something like that. I was maybe 5 years even. You hear about many spiritual people talking about the ringing ears, the tones in the ears, the high-pitched tones. And I was studying all of these occult teachings and Freemasonry and all those things, and trying to put the puzzle together. And I was struggling with a feeling in my life that I have dark entities very close to me, or interacting with people around me to put me down. And that was something that I came up with after seeing David Icke and different other teachers as well. And I started to see sometimes what was very strange to me to see. I saw in the side of my eyes, when I was shifting the viewpoint, when I was with people who were very negative, sometimes I could see that their eyes were black. They had a black thing in front of their eye. So that was so I was putting the pieces together. And actually one night I was sitting in my apartment, and I was sitting on the floor, and I was thinking, my God, these entities are for real. The demons or the archons, whatever you want to call negative entities, they are for real. And they are interacting with my life and disturbing my life path, or teaching me, of course. But, you know, when you go from thinking that you know to you know, you know the difference? And in the split second, I knew the demons are around. Ding! There comes the tone. There comes the tone, because I had a consciousness shift. So in the same second, ding, the tone came, and it's been with me since. That was a consciousness shift in that moment. And it was dark, because I was realizing that dark entities were around me and trying to disturb me. But at the same time, I also understood that, because I had studied the teachings, the esoteric teachings, I also understood that if they are real, then the angels are real. Then the angels must be real, because there's always polarity.
Right.
So it was a very negative but also very positive experience. And the tone in my ear came on, and it has been with me since. So it's really the mental changes that changes us in vibration as well, or energy flow. That was really cool.
So I wanted also to speak about Hermetic Principles, because that's something you're passionate about, and I think that's really along these lines as well. So tell us about why you're so passionate about it, and who Hermes is, because I think he's also called Thoth. It's impossible for a Scandinavian to say. Yes, so who is he, and why are you so passionate about his principles?
Actually, I don't know too much about Thoth. He's everywhere in Egyptian history. You can see him on wall paintings as an ibis, as the bird. So I don't actually know too much about him. Some people say he is the reincarnation. Hermes and Thoth and all those are reincarnations of the same soul, and that is very wise. And some say that he came from Atlantis. He was one of the survivors from Atlantis that then went to Egypt to start the mystery schools and all those things. If it's true, I don't know. I have a feeling that he was real, that he actually lived, just like Jesus or any other enlightened being. But what interests me is that was also Mark Passio who started to put me into this path. If you look at the mystery schools, like for instance Freemasonry and also Satanism and all those more dark occult things, they base it absolutely on Hermetic Principles. There are 7 different principles, and these are, as I see it also today, they are the laws of the universe, the basic foundation or understanding of how the universe operates. So it's teachings or laws that can make you understand both life and the universe and yourself and psychology and all those things in a more easy way, I think.
So did you say that Hermes was the same as Thoth? Or?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if it's 2 different incarnations. I haven't studied. I'm not so interested in the history. I'm interested in the teachings, the essence of it.
Okay.
So I don't know too much about it.
So what are these principles? There are 7, you said?
There are 7. There are the first one, which is extremely important, is Mentalism, which says in the book Kybalion, which writes about these things, it says that all is mind. So the universe is mind first. All is mind, the universe is mentally, I think it says, which is a great understanding that if the universe is mind, mental, before it's physical, then we have an intelligence which is large, and then we can also start to perceive that there must be what is called God or something. But in the coming laws, the second one is correspondence, the law of correspondence. So you can understand that by looking at the larger things in the universe, you can also understand the smaller things in the universe, and vice versa. So as above, so below. As below, so above. And that is also interesting. If the universe is the macrocosmos, the big cosmos, and we are the microcosmos, then we can also understand that if the universe is mental first and foremost, then also we are mental first and foremost. So that would change a lot of things.
I feel like I don't like that, or mental, because I feel like we're trying to get into our hearts away from just the thinking intellect.
Yes.
But maybe this is another way of seeing the mental.
More like a soul. We talked about astral projection, and when you leave your body, you are in the energy, not in the body. So the thinking goes on in the energy when you leave your body. So that's very proof to me when I leave my body. A few times only I've done that. Then the I is with the energy. It's not in the body which I'm looking down at.
Yeah. I see it more as consciousness or just awareness or an intelligence that is present. So, yeah, that's how I interpret that principle in my mind. So it doesn't get because mentally I feel like, oh, is it the monkey mind we're talking about, the chatter? But it's it seems like it is that deeper intelligence, the one that knows, in a sense, that the awareness, the consciousness is in everything. So that makes sense to me. Not that I'm going to, have an argument with Hermes.
But I think, in my perspective, life is about learning, and it is about learning love. Love is how to access love, or how to gain more love. I think that is the challenge we are under here. And I look at love as life energy. So that is actually the energy which flows within our bodies, the Qi, which is the Chinese call it the Qi. You have orgone energy. Some people call it from the sexual things. But I think that love is energy. So when we interact in a good, positive way, we feel resonance, and resonance creates more flow of energy. So that's how I look at it. But many people, if you say that the mental process controls how much energy you have flowing through your body, many people say, oh, that's impossible. It's yoga, it's meditation, it's all those other things, eating well. And of course, those are very important. But look at one example, which I usually take, is that imagine that you're at home and you're in your sofa, you are depressed, and you've been depressed for 1 year. The body is starting to malfunction, and you are everything is breaking down in your life. You're separated from society because you think that life is the worst thing ever. One phone call later, the phone rings, and they call from the how do you call it in English? The lotto. The lotto calls and say, you just won $3 million or kronas, whatever. What happens? You jump up from the sofa, you call your friends, you go out on town, you go to a restaurant, you gather with people, and nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is your thought. And that massively increased the energy flow within your body and in your system. Mm. So, and opposite, of course, you can lead a super happy life. You go to the doctor, you get a negative announcement from him, and everything falls apart because you think something else. Mm. So that is what I think is most important by mentalism, to understand that how we think and how we feel, of course, by the way we think, is also what is controlling how we interact with the world and how much energy we have.
It's really interesting when you look at your situation. You know, let's say that you are divorced and you go into the mindset of, oh, my life is horrible, I'm divorced. Or, you know, you are divorced and that is your situation. But it is the thought about the situation that makes it difficult. It can also be a thought that is great to be divorced because finally it came out. Or like any situation that you're experiencing, it is the thought around that situation that makes it even positive or lovely or really difficult.
Yeah.
So when we don't think about the situation, we are just present. We're just here.
Or just change how we think. We see, oh wow, what an opportunity. I'm going to experiencing something new.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, and I feel the life is a learning journey, so it has to be mental. If we come here to learn more, it has to be mental in essence. And by learning these things which are hidden within the secret societies, if we learn what they know and what the Bible tells us, what New Age tells us, we grow and we think about life in a different way. What was catastrophe for us, for me, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, is now nothing, and might even be a bliss. So it's just by how do I think about my world.
It's an interesting question. I've had many teachers talk about, no, I think feelings comes first, thought before thought, and then no, thought comes before feeling. But I don't know. I'm open. I don't know right now. I was very sure about what you're saying, but now I'm not quite sure anymore.
I think, in my understanding, it's thought. It has to be thought first, and that's why God is more of the time is perceived as a male god, because God thinking is active, so it's a masculine thing to do. It's an outward energy, and feeling is feminine, so it's more receiving something and thinking about it. So thought is, in my mind, is masculine, feeling is feminine, and the two of them together will generate the child, which Mark Passio also talks about. They will generate what we give birth to into the physical reality.
So let's move on to the other ones. We had mentalism, correspondence, and then vibration.
Yeah, that was maybe the more easy one. Of course, everything vibrates in the universe, and when we think of our own personal development, we have to understand that high vibration is more experience, high vibration is more energy flow again, and to have high vibration, we have to think positive thoughts, do positive things to attract more positive things, and so forth. So it's just an understanding, basically, of the importance, perhaps, of high vibration to experience more. And then we have polarity, which is, again, that is the checkered floor in the Freemason Lodge. That is what is teaching us. So good and evil is perfect. It's a perfect design, I think, from the universe or the creator, that to have both. We have to have both, because evil is teaching us how to behave and how not to behave. So, and when we are fearful, and we start to generate evil things because we are fearful. All evil comes from fear, no doubt. Then we have to learn how to shift to the positive pole, to do something better, by the things that comes our way by doing evil things, for instance, or So there's many different layers, of course, but that is the main problem most people are challenged with, I think, within spirituality. They are still in duality in too many parts of their lives, and that will keep them from high vibrations and more energy flow. Many people as I see it, many people within the spiritual realm, they avoid looking at the darkness and put themselves in the light pole, which is wonderful and blissful and all those things, but it doesn't create growth in any good way. Darkness creates growth in a much better way. So, and then we have rhythm, which also says the same thing, really. Everything in the universe goes in rhythms. We know 1 year, we have the cycles of the universe. Now we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is fantastic. And it's everywhere. And all of these things is in everywhere. It's from the atom to the even smaller parts to the universe or to the galaxies. You can see all of these laws in everything.
Right.
That's also a massive tool for expansion, to see how these laws operate around us. Then you start to put the pieces together and see a larger picture.
Okay, let's just do the last one, or the last one.
So cause and effect. Of course, if nothing happens by chance, there's always law and order in the universe. So if we have negative outcome or chaos in our lives or in society, someone, something on the mental plane most of the time wanted it to be so, or did something wrong according to the law of the high things. There's no randomness in the universe. Everything is perfect if you understand the law. Even the asteroid belt is perfect according to the law. It's no randomness. So that's very deep understanding. It took me a while to see in many places how that really works. But it's a very good thing to know in your as a base understanding for your life. If you're in trouble or in a bad place, everything is still according to the universal laws. So you have created it for yourself. So,
well, what I think then is that sometimes we have signed up for experiences like that. So I don't think we necessarily did something wrong. I don't think we do anything wrong. Maybe we go in a roundabout and a detour, but I think we have, I don't know, but I think we have signed up for a lot of our experiences, that there is some sort of a blueprint there. So we are to experience something in order to grow and learn as souls, different lessons. We're kind of playing different roles.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree with that, absolutely. So it's not wrong in that sense, but if we knew what we now knew, we didn't have the problems of the past, right? So it is still by not operating according to the law of the universe, so to speak, when we have problems. And of course, they are invited into our lives, or maybe we even have blueprints. We have maybe some people we are supposed to meet, which are creating a lot of harm in our lives. I absolutely believe that. It's soul contracts to generate that resistance to awaken you in this lifetime.
Right.
So,
but there might still be the laws that make that happen, in a sense, that are the wheels that make it happen. And,
absolutely. You can philosophize how with these 7 laws. The last one is gender, which I think is super relevant today in the day and age we're living in, when they are trying to persuade people and children in school that there are no genders. And the people who are in power knows very well that if you change or teach children or people that there is no gender, that will create a massive confusion within. So I've absolutely nothing against any sexual orientation, but the agenda is something different. That makes me very angry. But also I can say that I think that maybe all these transsexualities and those things are also maybe a result of very high intelligent souls incarnating, so that have a much more balance between masculine and feminine, perhaps. But still, I don't think that government should intervene. If you look into a Freemasonic lodge, which have this organization have a lot of power within society. If you look within the lodge, you have the checkered floor, and then you have a left column, and on the top of the left column there is an earth, a globe, and on the right column you have the universe. So the left one is masculine, the right one is feminine. And so this is the base understanding that everything has gender. And if you want to experience the maximum experience in life, you have to combine the two. So bring the 3 lower chakras to life, bring the 3 top chakras to life within the heart, as you say, then you will have a maximum experience. So they really have this science there. And society have tried many different things to obstruct our thinking about gender through culture and pop culture and so forth. For a very long time, they were trying to make everybody the Marlboro Man. That was the real man, the real deal. And then that is also creating a lot of confusion in society. So the man gets very hard and the woman was very soft. So there's a conflict. Instead of the man being soft and hard and the woman being soft and hard, then there is sacred union, I think, at least. So they are always trying to confuse us with the gender things.
Huh.
And
interesting.
Yeah.
Like we talked about in your interview, I haven't focused that much on these perspectives, but I think it's totally okay that others are doing it, and I think there's a purpose with that as well. And I feel, I wouldn't say comfortable, but I feel it's right for me not to focus too much on it, because to me, I feel like I'm way too sensitive and that it will actually lead me another negative path. So I'm much more focused on empowering the individual, and also I think it also is part of my feminine, my gender, the softness perhaps, that I'd like to focus more on how we can empower ourselves in the best way, because also you have to be able to not go into fear about it.
Yes.
That is what, like, the tipping point. If you go into the fear, it's not going to help you at all.
No, exactly.
And especially if you are too sensitive and we take in everything, then it's like hard to be empowered sometimes. So I think protection sometimes is good. And then if one feel ready to bring on these perspectives, that you can do it. But I think it's important. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think it's important that you're kind of evolved before you look into stuff like that, so you understand it from a higher perspective.
Yes, exactly. Very well said. That's also what I think. You have to look at it with optimism, and to understand that you have to understand evil and good, and you have to understand that it's meant to be like this. It's meant to be both. Even if some things we are digging into are very, very dark, I still believe the universe to be very, very benevolent. Absolutely. So darkness is, I think the darkness many times also is karma coming back from lifetime to lifetime. So if you have the understanding that both are essential parts of growing the collective human consciousness, then it's not so dark anymore. You understand it has to be there.
Yes, and a lot of people who are doing plant medicine now, that has come on the rise lately. Also reports that they are experiencing very dark, or they might have very dark experiences in the plant medicine. And then when they surrender, when they let go, all of a sudden the bliss comes.
Yeah, okay.
That is the story I hear again and again. So that is interesting. So how do you see these laws or principles in relation to the other universal laws that other people talk about, like the law of attraction and there seems to be like a lot of the same laws, but have you heard of the other?
Oh yeah, I don't know all of them by heart, but I think I've come across all of them, and many include these ones, the 7 ones from Hermes, and then they build on, so it becomes 12 or different schools. Right. But I agree with most of those laws, and think they are further understandings on Hermes principles, you could say.
Okay.
So.
Right.
In a way, I think that you could see law of attraction, for instance. You can see it in Hermes laws. You can understand it through this teaching. Right. But this is 7 laws, and the universe is extremely complicated. So we have to know more things.
So, last question for you today, Michael. The age of Aquarius, how does that look like for you?
Just where we are right now, it looks like massive expansion of consciousness, understanding new things. The water in the water pitcher is knowledge. That's what it stands for. It's spiritual water. Spiritual water is spiritual knowledge. So that's what's really happening now. And due to the resistance we are in right now, which is peaking, I think, it's a very strange world right now, more and more people will learn and will take on these teachings. And then we will transform this situation to something extremely wonderful, I think. There's no doubt in my mind.
In our lifetime?
Absolutely. And it will be fast, I think. I mean, look at what has happened since 2012, as we talked about before today. It is amazing, I think. It is a huge transformation of society. And sure, we want to see more in society, but it's the mental process which is happening now around the world. And now we can see with our channel that it's growing very rapidly from a very small place only half a year ago. So people are searching. When there is resistance, everybody wants to know and understand. And it doesn't feel right what they see on the television. They want to know. So I think it's a perfect place. Only a few weeks perhaps from maybe the actual turning point into the age of Aquarius, we have this much resistance. So we have a massive opportunity to grow into the age of Aquarius with new knowledge. So.
Wow. Exciting times. Thank you so much, Michael. And I'm excited to continue watching your channel. It's in Swedish right now, but will you be doing some more English in the future, you think?
I think so. I think we have to do also in English. We have had some people asking for that, also Norwegian people who doesn't understand my dialects, and Danish people and so forth. So at least to reach the other Nordic countries, I think we should do it in English also.
Well, thank you so much for your powerful work. I know it brings a lot of knowledge to people, and for people who are seeking and need some answers, to create that community is just so great. And we need, like I've always said, actually, that we need different voices that are looking into different perspectives, so we can see more of the whole picture.
Yeah. Very important.
Thank you for that, and all the best with your channel and everything.
Thank you very much, and the same to you, of course.
And thank you so much for watching. Much light from Norway and Sweden. Bye bye.